Martin Scorsese is a legend of cinema and a director with countless masterpieces on his resume. But it turns out that's not all he's good at. He also has a knack for pissing off fanboys with his opinions that are rooted in some truth. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
I think what makes cinema to me, it's something that for some reason stays with you, so that a few years later you could watch it again, or 10 years later you watch it again and it's different.
So in case you didn't know, Martin Scorsese's latest film, Killers of the Flower Moon, will be released soon. So we all know what that means. That means Martin Scorsese will be doing the rounds and doing a lot of interviews to promote the film. And just like last time, he's already ruffled a few feathers amongst certain entitled fandoms. Fanboys thought that Martin Scorsese saying Marvel films are not cinema to him was the worst of it. But nope, the old wise man has gone and done it again. And clearly he's doing it over jealousy of certain comic book movies' financial success, right? Yes, there are certain people who think that the legendary Martin Scorsese is jealous of mediocre popcorn films.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
Let's be honest here for a second. The people who are getting upset at Martin Scorsese over his opinion are clearly just insecure about their own opinions because deep down they know that what he's saying does have some truth to it. And they wouldn't dare listen to a man who has extensive knowledge of how films and the film industry works because they're just too proud for that. They'd rather lash out at a mostly harmless opinion because they are quite literally children who are used to getting everything that they want.
I'm hurt and I'm old and I'm tired and I work with fucking children.
Why is it that every time someone expresses an opinion that's not necessarily shared with everyone, that person is almost immediately labeled as a hater or jealous or something to that effect? Oh, that's right, it's because a lot of people don't actually have the mental capacity to hear a different perspective and then have a conversation about it. These people just want to be validated and nothing more. And they're so blinded by their insecure emotions that they act out irrationally. Like this person on Twitter who said about Martin Scorsese's most recent comments, quote, "Scorsese is starting to piss me off. This is completely ignorant and disrespectful to everyone who loves and creates comic book movies. Embarrassing. Oh no, everyone, the Moonlight Warrior on Twitter is upset with Martin Scorsese. Whatever will he do? I guess it's time to pack it up, Marty. Call it a career, because you just lost the support of some random person on Twitter who's probably never seen any of your movies anyway."
Why are you the way that you are?
What's embarrassing is that this person cares so much about Martin Scorsese's opinion that he allows himself to get all worked up over it. What's ignorant and disrespectful is spinning Martin Scorsese's words into something negative, when in fact everything that he said is actually accurate if you take your emotions out of it. In an interview with GQ, director Martin Scorsese discussed comic book and franchise culture, a topic which he has spoken about before. When asked about these blockbusters, Scorsese said that their omnipresence could be negative to audiences who aren't well versed in other types of film. He said, quote, "The danger there is what it's doing to our culture, because there are going to be generations now that think movies are only those. That's what movies are."
He's out of line, but he's right.
Now, if you are a rational thinking person, you can clearly see what Martin Scorsese is asking for. He's asking for the same exact thing that I ask for every single day on this channel. Balance. He's talking about how these massive studio-driven films have upset the balance. Because of the way they flood the market, they do not allow for smaller and more unique films to be seen. Yes, we all understand that the film industry is and has always been about making money first and foremost. But believe it or not, there was a time when the art and commercial sides of making films was more balanced.
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
You see, when you have an overabundance of commercialized films, that's what audiences get used to. And they are programmed into thinking that that's the only type of film that exists, or even matters. Scorsese has never said, to my knowledge, that comic book movies shouldn't exist at all. He's simply suggesting that variety in cinema will go a long way to preserving the art form.
That makes sense.
The reason that Marvel typically comes up in these discussions is because they are the most obvious example of how the industry has been consumed by this type of filmmaking. It's not that Scorsese hates Marvel films, it's that he hates how those films have completely changed the public's perception of what film is or can be.
Is everybody paying attention?
Scorsese continues, which means we have to fight back stronger. And it's gotta come from the grassroots level. It's gotta come from the filmmakers themselves. And you'll have Christopher Nolan, you know what I mean? And you hit them from all sides. Hit them from all sides and don't give up. Let's see what you got. Go out there and do it. Go reinvent. Don't complain about it. But it's true because we've got to save cinema.
Goddamn right. That's the only way I work, Cap.
This is a call to action where Scorsese is simply suggesting that people should be part of the solution. They should either go out and create for themselves and be innovative, or at the very least go out and support directors who are offering a higher quality product like Christopher Nolan. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with an inspirational message like this. But in typical modern film discussion fashion, people instead tried to poke holes in his logic and failed miserably.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Because in response to this, every single butthurt fanboy on social media thought that they were the most intelligent person in the room, as they all responded to Scorsese's call to arms in the most uniform way possible. Basically saying, well, doesn't Scorsese know that Nolan directed 3 Batman movies? I mean, come on. Even a Hollywood director, Scott Derrickson, jumped in to add his 2 cents to this discussion, saying, quote, fight back against comic book movie culture by supporting the director of the Batman trilogy. I find it troubling that countless people on social media, including a Hollywood director, somehow doesn't understand the huge difference between Christopher Nolan's Batman films and almost every other comic book movie ever created. Because you see, if people understood the difference between the two, we might actually be able to get quality from the genre again. So this really wasn't the flex that these people thought it was. In fact, it kind of reinforces Scorsese's point.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
That being that some creators do offer something unique, even when they're playing in an established comic book movie sandbox. It's amazing to me that every time Martin Scorsese speaks on this subject, he gets the same type of reaction. Apparently his words carry some weight, so maybe, just maybe, people should think about that and actually listen to what he's saying.
Message!
Instead of reacting emotionally and just embarrassing themselves on social media. Maybe Martin Scorsese has a point, and if you could expand your narrow-minded way of thinking for just a moment, you might actually learn something. You might actually learn something about cinema and what it takes to be great, and what you can do as a consumer to make sure the art form of cinema continues to prosper.
Y'all be cool. Shut up.